What's going on, everybody? My name is Hassiem Muhammad, and you are listening to The Actor's Instrument, your source for industry insight and inspiration. My man, Jarrett Austin Brown, is an actor, dancer, producer, writer, and director, among other things. He entered the world of entertainment at the age of 8 when he began dancing professionally. Since his start, he's worked with artists like Ariana Grande, if you've heard of her, Kendrick Lamar, Dua Lipa, Wizkid, and Drake, to name just a few. And he's touched stages around the world, from the Oscars to the VMAs to the Super Bowl, the Grammys. It goes on. At age 16, while attending the LaGuardia High School in New York, that's the Fame High School for those who are outside of the city, he segued his career into acting, landing his first role on Baz Luhrmann's The Get Down. From there, he'd go on to work with so many more accredited names in Hollywood like Ava DuVernay, Sam Rockwell, and most recently, Andy Fickman. Jarrett, thank you for joining me, man.
Thank you, brother. That was a hell of an intro. I have to say one thing. I didn't do the Super Bowl yet, but soon, hopefully. Everything else.
What did you?
I did Grammys. I did a lot of other things, bro.
Did you do? I feel like I saw you. Have you performed with The Weeknd?
Oh no! I did. So I get that all the time. People ask me all the time if I did that performance. I didn't do that one. Is that one?
Why?
Why do I feel like all the time? That's why.
Maybe that's okay. Maybe that's why I connected you through someone else.
Yeah.
Heard. That's fair. Okay. Well,
her name Carla Nana. I work with her like all the time. So yeah, I get that.
Okay. So you haven't done the Super Bowl, but you've done the Grammys and the VMAs,
and the Oscars and that stuff.
And the Oscars. Like I've done literally everything else, but
yeah, it's a little bucket list we had on.
Heard. That's what's up. Well, shoot, man. It sounds like that's all you got left.
Hopefully, I mean, we got a lot more things to do. I think it's a beautiful thing that I had a great dance career. I stepped back away from dance a little bit, and we're more so in the acting and producing world now. So it's kind of like you feel like you reach a certain level of one field, and you just like, all right, when you're artistic, how do I hit the next level of another field? So
absolutely not, man. The top of one mountain is truly only the bottom of the next, and it's your mountain. So somebody listening to this might be like, what's he mean? It sounds like you should keep dancing, but it's your journey. What do you want to do? What are you interested in at the moment?
Yeah, it's one of the things where it's like you gotta follow the passion, you gotta follow the love, because inevitably I feel like the one thing people don't get about this industry is it is an industry and it is work. So no matter how much you do it, inevitably you do start to feel like, all right, I'm going to a job today. So you got to keep that spark alive, and I think that's something a lot of artists don't focus on these days. A lot of people I actually said this on my Instagram a while ago. It's like a lot of artists sit back these days and they're like, all right, well, I'm paying my bills. I'm doing what I love. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not why the 5-year-old version of you was so excited to enter this industry. Like it's about inspiring and continuously just finding that fuel.
Heard. Well, I want to get into your segue from dancing to acting, but first, gotta talk about what's hot on the plate right now. Don't Turn Out the Lights. This film came out. Was it
September 6th, man?
Yeah, so like 2.5 weeks before this recording.
Yeah.
Was this your first time being in a horror film?
Oh yeah, I did not think I was going to do a horror, bro. Absolutely. It's crazy. I fell in love with, which to credit the director Andy Fickman, fell in love with horror afterwards. Andy is like a horror enthusiast to the max, and it was just the most beautiful experience. So what's crazy about that movie is it came out a couple weeks ago from when we're doing this right now, but we shot that, I want to say, almost 3 years ago. So it's been shot. Yeah, it was a long time, which is a whole, we'll get into that in a second, but it's a
that's like before we even met.
Yeah, we shot that almost 3 years ago, but with shooting it, Andy made us come in, I want to say maybe a week and a half before we had to start shooting so we could do a rehearsal. And it wasn't really a rehearsal. It was just like a bonding experience. And that's why everybody became like family. And all we would do is we'd all sit in one hotel room. We all go to Andy's room. It's like 8 of us. And we just sit there. We actually have pictures just sitting there, like eating Burger King and stuff. And we would just watch 2 horror movies a night. Like every night, he'd be like, we're watching 2 horror movies. We're watching 2 horror movies. And we were just watching it because there's so much beauty when you understand what came before you. and you creating what's going to come later on, what's going to come for the next generation. So we kind of watch things from the 80s, 90s, all the way up to
Bro,
current. Yeah.
listen, I love horror films. I love
Horror.
them. And it's hard because like my wife hates them. So she's like, no, we have a close friend. She's like, take her to see the movie because she's like, I don't want to go see
I
it.
don't think you're like, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Yeah.
Wow, that's what's up. Okay, what's your favorite horror film?
My favorite horror film? Oh man, I have a lot. I think the one that scared me
Or
the most.
give me a top. You can give me a top 2, 3 if you want.
I'll give you a couple.
Heard, yeah.
I think on a classic level, I love The Thing because and I actually studied it for another project that I did later on because the entire concept behind it is just like it's just something that you never see and you're just consistently questioning, but it's just this imminent power and danger just always just present. I love it when you like sit down and really dissect that movie. It's a reason it's a classic. It's called classic. That's one of them. I gotta put Get Out up there. I have to put Get Out there because it's just like to see somebody redefine something we thought was so well defined is crazy.
Right.
Like the horror genre is so well defined. You put people in a closed space, they can't escape. People are not. It's so many things about horror that are already defined, like the way we actually track it. And for someone to come in and be like, break all of that up, all of that, and just create something that's so real, and it made horror into realism instead of just something where it's like Freddy Krueger or you're chasing something that we know doesn't exist. You're literally chasing like a societal thing that you're like, whoa. This whole time we're battling with this thing. So Get Out is definitely up there. And the last one, the one that scared me the most was the autopsy of, I think it's Jane Doe. The autopsy of Jane Doe.
I haven't seen it.
That shit's, bro.
Yeah. All right, I gotta put it on the list.
Yeah, we watched that, bro. Let me tell you something. Me and every single one of my co-stars, we were texting each other like 4 a.m. We was like, yo, you up? Like we was all like,
because I'm up.
Bro, we was all literally, we all went back to one hotel room right after we left Andy's and just sat there. And then we all went back to our hotel rooms and we was up. We was like, bro, just the chills you get off of that movie. Yeah.
It's one of those. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out. Heard. Okay, so going from, being somebody who enjoys watching horror movies to like being in one, it looked like, well, I have a couple questions around it. One, it looked like y'all filmed like entirely on location. Is that accurate? Or did you use a studio at all?
So we actually had it was like a warehouse. It wasn't even like a studio, but we were in upstate New York, in Kingston, New York. And we used some on location, which was just in the woods, which is like, we actually did Fallen Trees in the woods. So you know how it goes.
Yep.
So we did some of it in the woods and then some of it on the sound stage, which is a warehouse. And
sure.
It's the production aspect of like just how to make the most of time because most horror takes place at night and it's dark. So instead of doing everything outside, the sun gonna come up. You kind of black out windows. You shoot things specific angles and so forth to kind of make it look like it's chaos. But there's a lot of shooting stuff in there. But I'll let you get on and then I'll add on some stuff. Yeah.
No, bro, no, please talk. I was just gonna say like, well, duh. Like now that you say it, I'm like, that's obvious. If like 90% of the movie takes place at night, why would you actually try and shoot it outside?
Yeah.
So
you just black the windows out, you good. We did a lot on. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was brick out there. We did a lot on the actual like my entire like last scene or whatever. I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but I'm outside the whole time and it's like it was freezing. It was freezing. I've done plenty of shoots in the cold. It was definitely cold that day, and you kind of have to like turn your actor hat on and be like, all right, how do I not feel like it's 0 degrees when it has to be like June, or whatever time of the year it is. Yeah.
Right. And the reason why I asked about the location is because, you think about all of the things that make a horror movie scary, right? Yeah. Like walking through the woods I'm a big camper and backpacker. I'll be out there sometimes like, is it just me or, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, bro. And like you hear like a twig snap, you're laying in your tent in the middle of the night, you hear something walking through your campsite. Like that's the kind of thing that's like, ooh, that's a little scary. And then you add on top of that, like the music makes the horror movie, or the cutting, or the pacing. So the reason why I asked about the location is like there's so many elements that go into making a horror movie. I feel like how many of those did you feel were present and available for you to work off of while you were filming, like during production?
Um, I want to say all of them. I think the beautiful part, which is a great question actually to tie it back into location, because a lot of it was shot in the woods and on soundstage. When you're in the woods, bro, and it is nighttime, you scared. Like it ain't no. Oh, you shooting a movie? No, you out there like
Hmm.
you might not even be worried about 'cause especially in that area. We found out that there's like bears in that area. Like there's other things there, not just like the boogeyman out there or something. Like there's real there's stuff out there. So you just walk around like just hoping, hoping you're like I don't.
Yeah.
Now don't get me wrong, we're kept very safe. There's not none of that stuff near us, but yeah, I definitely think it was all super present. Andy is a theater enthusiast as well. So with that being said, anytime you have someone that understands the theater world as well as the cinematic world, their approach with the actors is a lot more personal and it's a lot more hands-on. I think with cinema, and whether it's TV or film, you kind of get detached because you go to your trailer. You only have to say maybe a couple of lines at a time. You're not staying in it. Andy was like keen on when we did rehearsal, we also ran it like a play. Like we ran through it. So you're feeling everything like as things are hitting you. As into, okay, cool. We literally shot that movie, I want to say, in chronological order from top to finish. So it wasn't even like I gotta be worried about this right now, and then tomorrow I gotta smile. Like none of that. It was like
Yeah.
literally I wanted to experience every single day of the horror getting closer, because it was like it was done.
Mm. Well, that sounds like a real gift. I feel like I heard a clip. One of the actresses, she mentioned that it was shot chronologically. She said it had to do with like the amount of, not to spoil too much. There's blood in the movie. Go
Oh
figure.
yeah.
And she was like,
Oh yeah.
there's, she was like, there's so much blood that we had to shoot in order.
Oh yeah. And that's hard.
That's
That's hard.
crazy.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard. That's what I'm saying. The water production, bro, is it's a beast, bro. Because especially when you deal with blood, like, because when we deal with blood now, we got costume problems. Is there like a mark on the costume we can't get out? We can't reshoot that because we doing the indie and we got two of those costumes and one of them
Right.
has to be used. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like we're doing a project where we can buy 35 costumes or buy 28 cars and blow them all up. When you're
Right.
indie, you're in a world where it's like precision, 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 precision. You got a little bit of time to execute. So the blood was huge.
Right.
That was
Right.
definitely huge.
So what was the audition process for this like? I think I've auditioned for a horror film once. But I'm curious what this process was like for you.
It's weird, and it's something that I think every actor, if there's anything you take away from watching this, anybody that watches this, don't stress. That's the one thing I will say. Don't stress. It's far too often that we get an audition and we like some people like work themselves into the ground or anything like that. No joke. Every like great opportunity that I've ever had was me like looking at some lines and being like, all right, let me tape it. Let me just tape it. And you follow your instinct in those moments. You don't like go insane. So the audition process, the first tape I got, I remember just seeing it and I just knew. I'm really good with like script work and like knowing like, okay, this needs to happen, that needs to happen. I like my brain is like, here, this is my track. This is what I got to do. And then this is my bringing it to real life. So I remember seeing it, recording it with my little sister, and just sending it in. Then I got to meet Andy, and we did a callback. And the callback was awesome because Andy's just like, he's literally I hope you meet him, bro. He's the nicest person like you'll ever meet in your life. Like he's incredible. So that was amazing. And then after that, we do a chemistry read. This is what took me for a swing because this is like 2021, I want to say maybe. Yeah, I want to say around there until 2020.
Oh, so like we ain't even trying to be close to people really,
We not
because of,
exactly. So
I
we
mean,
in like Zoom mode. So that's where it sucked because it's like you're trying to connect and relate to people in the Zoom that we did. So it wasn't even like we like enter like a Zoom and they keep you like a waiting room.
mhm.
Andy put us all just together. So it was about, I want to say like 40, 50, maybe like 40 people. And you just see like 40 small screens and we all just sitting there, just waiting to get pulled in. Like, so you can see everyone. And then you're going in with
Mm.
like this group, maybe you come back out. Maybe you go back in with that group, maybe you come back out. And that was like, I remember getting off that Zoom and being like, I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened. It's like, I don't know. Because it's so hard to feel chemistry. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least it's like,
Yeah.
perfect example. We're doing this right now, like, electronically, technically, but I know you know. Like, I've seen you.
Right.
You know, and so it's like I
Yeah.
can just. It's like I'm talking to you on the phone. It feels like it's nothing, but versus like when you really have never met somebody, that's where you're like, oh wow, I don't know you. I don't know what is. I can only see your upper body. I don't know what you know. What I mean, I don't really know what I'm working with. So then after that happened, we had to do a second chemistry read. And the second chemistry read was where we all found out we got it. Basically, what Andy did was he brought us in for a second chemistry read or whatever. And we got in there and he gave us like a spiel, 7 of us. He gave us a spiel and was like, oh, by the way, like, this is the last chemistry read. You guys are going to be like coming in and out. If I have you come in and read and have you could jump out, don't take it any kind of way. I just want to see people match up with certain people. He gave us this whole spiel for about 10 minutes. And then at the end of it, he goes, and by the way, you're not going to be coming in and out because you all got the job. And it was just 7 of us on there. And we just was like, oh, shit. Like, we just all like, oh, this is dope. And I remember getting off the phone and just being like ecstatic. And it was a beautiful experience. Just to add one more note to the stress aspect for actors.
Yeah.
The entire time I kept myself as far away from like worry of the unknown and what I can't do. You know what I'm saying? You can't and I think that's why it was something that fell into my lap the way it did. Even in that last chemistry that we booked, it wasn't really a chemistry, but I remember dressing like the character for all 3 of the first rounds. And then the last round, I was like, they've seen me act. They've seen me be the character. Like, who's Jarrett Austin Brown? And I literally remember being like, I'm going to just dress like me. I'm going to just be me. Like, I don't need to show you the character. You want to see the character, but I don't need to do all of that again. I just need to be me. And got it right there on the spot. But you got to just not stress, y'all. So I just want to just add that little tip. Just let things happen, let them pass. You're gonna be good.
Word. And you know, when I think about it, when I was watching the film, like, you did bring a lot of you to the. I mean, maybe I would describe him as like an exaggerated version of you.
Sure, yeah. I'm a
Yeah.
little different, but yeah.
Yeah, you know, but no, but it was you. It was like it was your energy if you just turned it up to 11. What's going on, everybody? Hassiem here. I hope you're enjoying this week's episode. And if you haven't heard already, The Actor's Instrument is now a presentation of Red Letter Entertainment. We're excited to continue to bring you the best industry insights and introduce you to new artists who are making it work. And with this partnership with Red Letter, we're excited to bring you even more content, live episodes, and Q&As. New episodes of The Actor's Instrument will drop every Tuesday. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to check us out at theactorsinstrument.com and follow Actors Instrument Podcasts on all social media platforms so you never miss a beat. I do want to go back because before you mentioned that transition you had. You went to LaGuardia in New York. Did you go for dance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you went to LaGuardia for dance. What was the transition to acting?
Yeah, so God does this thing where he puts you in position when he wants to put you in position and you can't really fight it. And I'm somebody that occasionally I'm hard-headed, so I'll be trying to fight it. And then I'm like, maybe I shouldn't. So I knew I wanted to try the things. I did Julie Taymor, incredible director as well. I did A Midsummer Night's Dream, William Shakespeare with her when I was like 12 off Broadway at a spot called Theater for a New Audience, brand new theater. And I didn't really have to act, but it was like where I got my first taste of acting. And I knew it was something I wanted to dabble into, but I was just hesitant because I was doing other things. I worked with Ariana Grande. I was doing other things in dance. So I was like, you know what? I'm good. I'm comfortable. And then I went to something called The Pulse, which is a dance convention for my dancers that know. And I tore my meniscus. And when I tore my meniscus, I was like, what the bad part about it was I signed to my agent 2 weeks before I tore my meniscus. So I literally signed to a new agency rather, Clear Talent Group. And 2 weeks later, tore my meniscus. And my agent at the time, Juliana, was like, do you want to act? And I was like, let's try. It's like there's not much more I can really do right now. So
Yeah.
First audition I went out on was the Get Down, and I got that. And when I got on that set, I was like, that's it. I was like, this route. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I wouldn't have never got there if I didn't tear my knee. So it's one of those things you look at like, dang, that's like such a hardship.
Yeah.
Really, sometimes hardships are blessings in disguise. You know what I'm saying? So it brought me here. It got me Don't Turn Out the Lights. It got me a lot of other things. I can't talk about
Yeah.
everything, but it got me a lot of other things as well. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So you were at CTG, and they started repping you, I guess, across the board because
Yeah.
obviously, you healed, you got better.
Remember?
Was it your reps pushing you to continue dancing? Was it you to say like, hey, I want to continue to do both? It's hard to juggle. It's hard to juggle multiple careers, and it's certainly hard to juggle them at a high level.
100%. It's very hard. I want to say, I don't think my reps ever like pushed me to do anything ever. They've always been super gracious with me, and I feel bad sometimes. Then my reps, if they ever see this, will be like, "Oh, you do?" But I feel bad because sometimes I'd be like, "Dang, I don't give enough to the dance department that I could give them way more." But it was me. I think when you have a love for something, it's hard to let it go. Like it's hard to let it go. But I love acting, and it's where I see myself going forward. But because I have dance, it's just like if it calls like 90% of stuff you see on my dance resume, I didn't even audition for. It was like, okay, somebody called me that knew about me or whatever, or a friend recommended me, and when that happens, you kind of just like, why say no? You know,
Right.
so because you have the
Right.
talent, so that's really what it was. So it wasn't really anybody pushing me per se. It was really just like you holding on for as long as you can. You know, also something with dance is I can't do it forever. And I think that's the difference. With acting, I can do it forever. I can, Morgan, I was old when Morgan Freeman was old when I first seen him when I was young. He's still old.
Right.
He's been old my whole life. Morgan Freeman
Right.
old he's always been
Yeah.
and at the top of his game. So with dance, it's like not only does your body have a certain lifespan, like at 16, I tore my meniscus. You know what I'm saying? Like not only does it have a certain lifespan, but also as I advance in my career as an actor, I can't dance. You know what I mean? Like it would be weird right now if you saw Michael B. Jordan like dancing behind like Cardi B. You'd be like, what is going on? So it's one of those things where it's like I also resonate with it like that because the second that one acting thing comes out and I do this, then I can't really, I can do like Channing Tatum or something and do like a dance movie.
Right.
But I can't just like really get down with dancers and be on stage doing that stuff. So yeah.
Right. No, that's fair. So you spoke about like where you see yourself moving forward. You've danced for, Dua Lipa and Pop Smoke and VMAs. What do you feel like, moving forward for Jarrett Austin Brown, the actor? What does that look like for you?
Right.
And that's kind of that's a broad question. That's a broad question. You can answer broadly or you can get specific. Up to you.
I'm gonna get specific. And I think it's just confidence. I think that's future. And for the longest, it was like, okay, I want a career like this person or a career like that person. Man, it's just to be able to sit down at the end of the day and just be confident in my decisions. Because in this game, it's really hard to find confidence in your decisions because you never know what you're walking. You might walk into a project that looks like the greatest project ever, and it doesn't do good. You might walk into a project that you hate, and it's like now cult classic. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
just be confident in my decisions, confident in my work, and just know that I'm inspiring a younger version of myself. I think that's the biggest thing. I view myself in a sense where it's like, as long as the world sees me and is like, okay, he did something greater than just dancing, greater than just acting, and he had purpose. Like some of my biggest inspirations, like Kobe Bryant, for example. When we lost Kobe, it wasn't like we just lost the basketball king. Like, no, we lost a mentality. We lost a being that was like pushing everybody to be the greatest version of themselves. So that's how I view myself. I don't ever want to just be, like just that thing. So when I look at my acting career, I hope that it's me planting seeds in ways where I'm inspiring. And that's really all that it is. It used to be, I want to be Marvel. I want 26 Oscars. And it's like, I want impact. Yet again, we view this art like it's something isolated from life, and it's not. It's all one and the same. You know what I mean? Yeah. And as a person, I just want to be someone that everybody I meet, whether you meet me for 5 seconds, 5 minutes, or 5 years, you walk away from knowing me being like, yo, I feel like I learned this, or I'm better in this way. If that happens, I'm good. Like I'm good. I don't need all the crazy accolades, and I just need to be like, cool. you know, because that's how I started.
Yeah.
Like I always reference like the 5-year-old version of myself, but it's how I started. Like as a dancer, you grow up seeing these music videos, you grow up seeing, you know, these TV shows, these movies as an actor, and you just sit there. And I just remember in my mind, like looking at my mom and be like, "Mommy, I want to do that thing." When there's a kid at home that looks at their mom and is like, "Yo, mommy, I want to do this thing," after they just saw me on screen, I'm good. Because now I know the next generation to come is going to do that for the generation after. So it's just about impact and just a trickling effect.
I love that. Love that, man. Yeah, you reminded me. James Earl Jones just passed away.
One of our greats.
Um, one of the greatest ever. And I was watching a clip of his where he was talking about self-doubt. And he said something along the lines of, if you know what you have to offer is great, then there's no room for self-doubt.
Yep.
And I was like, because as you said, it's so hard to stay confident in this game because, you know, how many auditions, I'm sure I've been on literally hundreds of auditions, and there are auditions where you give your blood, sweat, and tears to it. You put in so much work and crickets.
Yep.
You know, and then there's stuff that, like you said, you're just like, let me get this over with, and you book it. You're like, what? Or like,
like how did I get there? Yeah.
you know, like I remember when I booked this Super Bowl commercial. Hey, there we go. Now we're even. We got it covered now.
Now you got Super Bowl. Yeah, heck yeah.
But bro, I can't tell you how I booked it to this day. To this day. But there's other stuff that I'm like, man, that was my master class. Like I did that.
Yeah.
Crickets. So yeah, you just remind me like where do we decide to focus our energy? You can focus on the accolades. There's nothing. I mean, nothing wrong with that. Like if that's what you really want. But I love what you said about impact and confidence.
Yeah,
I think that's a noble pursuit.
for sure. It'll keep you going longer. Trust me.
And that too.
Great. Same way we're sitting here right now. We running through accolades right now. It's like we still both view ourselves in places where we're like we got further to go. And it's like
absolutely.
Version of us years ago would have been like, "Oh, you did all the things." That don't mean nothing.
Right. No, and that's what exactly.
And now we're next. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. I sat down at the top of the year to talk with my reps. You know, just to go over goals. I'm a big goal setter, and
Yeah.
I told him I was like I'm not close, and it wasn't like self-deprecating.
Yeah.
It was just like, you know, it's like when you know where you want to get to, you know, and you just take a step back to look at where you're at, and it's like I'm proud of what I've done, and I also have to acknowledge like there's a lot left. There's a lot left, you know. Speaking of more of what you have left, you have a production company, 48 Sinclair. How does that fit into all of this?
So going back to the impact, brother, I love when I get on set. I can thank so many people. Yet again, Andy's one of them. I always throw Andy in there because he is just an incredible person just to work with. The way he creates a set, it's so beautiful. And that's another goal of mine. It's like a lot of people talk about producing and they walk into producing for the sense of the financial gain, which let's backtrack real quick. Because I think this is a conversation a lot of people know. And you're like, oh man, you make so much money as a producer. It's a long run before you make that kind of money as a producer. There's a lot more work than you think it is before you get to that long run. So a lot of people walk into producing like, oh, I'm going to make this project and I'm going to make $100 million, $200 million. It's like, no, the people that gave you money to make that project going to make $200 million. You're going to get a small little cut, buddy. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be a little bit different than that. So with that being said, for me, I didn't want it to be about how I can gain financial, anything. It had to be bigger than that. So my biggest takeaway is doing what we did on Fallen Trees. You bring together small families. That's what we do, right? And that's more beautiful than just getting a dollar sign. Because when you bring together small families, like how Andy brought us together on Don't Turn Out the Lights, you get a Jarrett that leaves that and is inspired to go do that for another group of people. And then maybe somebody comes on my set and they're inspired to do that for another group of people. So that's one part of it. Another part of it is I implore anyone that can and has the time to go visit Disney World or go visit Universal Studios. And the reason I say that is don't just go for the sake of getting on the rides and having fun. really take in, when we talk about impact, what's going on. People's lives surround some of these fictional characters that left somebody's brain. And for me, it's like the thought of being someone that can put out a piece of work that everybody remembers the day they saw that project, and it becomes another shared experience amongst you and your friends, you and your family, you and your lady, you and your man, who it becomes something so much bigger than a project. Like, I was at Universal recently and I went to the Harry Potter, and this is like some people's lives. Like, their rooms have Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Like, this is like people's lives. Transformers was there. This is people's lives. And all it was somebody with an idea that was like, let me put this out there. And when you see that, that makes me want to produce. That makes me want to create characters, because you never know what character you can make that maybe 3 people like, but those 3 people change their entire life and their psyche based on the lessons they learned in those projects. You know what I mean? Because you see Harry Potter, you're like, okay, it's a kid flying around with a broomstick and it's magic, you know, and it's cool, but there's so many lessons in there. There's so much you get to experience. You know what I mean? You see Transformers, there's so many. If you listen to one Optimus Prime speech, like, there's so much that you can learn, so much knowledge. So for me, that's what 48 Sinclair is. 48 Sinclair is something that I want to use to be able to, one, help up and coming artists and talented filmmakers and playwrights and people that want to make TV get a shot, and then 2, bring together families, and 3, create great experiences for the audience that's going to watch it.
Boom, 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 boom. I love it. I love it. Jarrett, I got one final question for you.
Let's do it.
You're on the actor's instrument. What would you consider the defining qualities that you bring to the table as a storyteller that set you apart from everyone else?
I want to say work ethic, but a lot of people have great work ethic. I want to be more specific than that. I view the art like a craft. And with that being said, when you work with me, I'm very specific and I pay crazy close attention to detail. I think oftentimes every single actor wants to be Superman, and it's like, you're not always going to be able to just be the most powerful actor that you are. So you got to be able to dial into the Batman side of you that's just with the craft. Like, you sit up and you read every single line. You know how to, even if my instrument's not on cue today, I know how to get this across and get the job done. And I think that's where I thrive. I thrive in a space where it's like, can we have divine moments? Yes, we can have beautiful moments where you're super in touch with everything going on. But also sometimes it's like 4 a.m. and you're freezing and you're hungry and you're tired, and 18 people on set are arguing at each other because they want to rap, and so many other things. And while you're trying to use that instrument, you don't know how. So when you build the skill set and you build the craft, no matter what the surrounding things you have going on, you can tap in and still execute the job. So I would definitely say that's something from my instrument that I'm very keen on. Like, I'm very keen on, like, how can I get this done? 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 And a producer in as well. So it's something that I definitely say sets me apart from a lot of people. I can sit down with, and I've actually done this with directors before. I worked on projects with directors, and I sat down and looked at the script, and I've said something to them that they didn't see. And they'll look at me and be like, how the hell did you see that? And I'm like, because I'm so far between those lines. Like, I'm in, like, what does this mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean? What is this? So that's definitely something for me, I say, it's a skill set.
Heard. And I mean, it's true. I see it in you. You know, man, it was amazing working with you on Fallen Trees. That was just that was one of those projects. Wait, what'd you say?
I said, hopefully the world will see it soon. I'm trying to be smart about, like, how I maneuver with it. I'm trying to, like, be smart about what I do, but hopefully
soon. Yeah. I didn't say this earlier, folks, but Jarrett wrote and produced a film called Fallen Trees that I was in, a short that we did in 23.
Okay.
Yeah, 23, spring of 23. Crazy. So keep an eye out for that. Jarrett, I'm so glad we finally got to make this happen. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. Thank you for giving us a look into what it's like to be in a horror movie, you know, to star in a horror film. Everyone, be sure to check Jarrett out in Don't Turn Out the Lights. You can also follow him at Jarrett Austin Brown on Instagram. And thank you to all of our listeners for tapping into the actor's instrument. I'm Hassiem Muhammad. You can follow me on Insta at Hassiem Muhammad, and you can follow the show at Actors Instrument Podcast.
You're incredible, brother. I appreciate it. Peace.
Thank you for listening to The Actor's Instrument. I'm Hassiem Muhammad, and you can follow me at Hassiem Muhammad and the show at Actors Instrument Podcast on all social media platforms. The Actors Instrument is a presentation of Red Letter Entertainment. Executive producers, Adam Jellicourse, Serena Esposito, and yours truly. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and check us out at theactorsinstrument.com. We'll be back next Tuesday. Till next time, y'all. Peace.